There are certain things you should never discuss with an Iron Maiden fan: politics, religion, and where you rank the number of the beast. Well, we're going to do it anyway. Today on Anything Unfortunately with Tommy Walter, I'm taking on one of my biggest jobs I've ever attempted, ranking all 17 Iron Maiden studio albums from my least favorite to my favorite. Let me make something very clear right from the beginning. This isn't a ranking of which albums are good and which albums are bad, because let's be honest, Iron Maiden hasn't released anything that's bad. This is about which albums I personally connect with the most, and that means there are going to be some controversial decisions. Some albums that everybody seems to love are going to be lower than you expected. Some albums that get dragged through the mud are going to get a little more respect around here. And my top three, let's just say we're going to spend some time in the 80s. So buckle up. Grab your favorite Maiden album, put Eddie somewhere nearby, and let's rank these things. Let's start with the easy one from 1998. Virtual 11 is number 17. And I don't say that because I think it's completely worthless. It isn't. Future Real is a great opener. The Klansman has become one of their most beloved songs from the Blaze Bayley era. When Two Worlds Collide is solid, but compared with the rest of the catalog, this album just doesn't have enough moments to pull me back in. There's also something about the production that feels a little weird to me. And then, of course, there's the enormous elephant in the room, Blaze Bayley. I actually think Blaze gets blamed for a lot more than he deserves. He was stepping into one of the most difficult jobs in heavy metal. Replacing Bruce is like replacing the Statue of Liberty. You can put another person there, but everyone's still going to notice. Blaze's voice has its own character, and I think the X Factor actually makes better use of it. But Virtual 11 just doesn't connect with me. So it gets the unfortunate honor of being number 17. Sorry, Eddie. Somebody had to be last. At number 16 from 1995, The X Factor. And here's where things get interesting, because I actually have more respect for this album than its ranking might suggest. This is a dark Iron Maiden album. Steve Harris was going through a rough period, Bruce Dickinson was gone, Blaze Bayley had joined the band, and the entire atmosphere feels different. Sign of the Cross is massive. Man on the Edge is probably the most immediately accessible song here. Fortunes of War is heavy and atmospheric. Blood on the World's Hands has some fantastic moments, but this album is a commitment. It's long, it's heavy, it's gloomy. Sometimes it feels like Iron Maiden has locked you inside a castle during a thunderstorm and forgotten to tell you when dinner is. And while I appreciate that atmosphere, I don't always enjoy sitting in it. Now we jump all the way to 2021, Senjutsu. And this album is one that I wanted to love more than I do. There's some fantastic music here. The writing on the wall is terrific. Stratego is one of my favorites. Days of Future Past is a great little burst of classic Maiden energy. And the title track sums the album up beautifully. But this album is huge. Iron Maiden has reached the point where 8-minute songs are basically considered appetizers. 10-minute songs, normal. 11 minutes, sure, throw it on there. And while I appreciate ambition, there are times when I think the songs could have benefited from some editing. The 3-song run at the end is especially demanding. There's a lot going on here, but I don't find myself reaching for Senjutsu as much as I do the albums coming up. From 2003, now we're getting some albums that I really enjoy, especially this one that I really just got into yesterday, Dance of Death. And this has some serious ammunition. Wildest Dreams, Rainmaker, Passchendaele, Journeyman, and Passchendaele is an absolute monster. It's one of those songs that reminds you of how good Iron Maiden can be when they combine storytelling, melody, and just hard, heavy metal. For me, there are parts where the album I'm completely locked in, then there are parts where my attention starts wandering. And when you've got a catalog this deep, that's enough to drop an album several spots. Still, this is absolutely not a bad album. It's just competing against real competition. At number 13 from 2010, The Final Frontier. It's strange, it's atmospheric, it's progressive, it's almost spacey in places. And Satellite 15, The Final Frontier, gives the album a very different opening. Then you get songs like The Talisman, Coming Home, The Alchemist, Starblind. There's a lot of great material here, but it takes time. This isn't an Iron Maiden album where you need to put the needle down and immediately get a hit like Aces High. It's more of a slow burn, and that's both its strength and weakness. I really like it, but there are 12 albums I like more. At number 12 from 2015, now we get to one of the most ambitious albums in Iron Maiden's entire career, The Book of Souls. And this thing is enormous. We're talking about basically an album that basically says, hey, what if we made a double album when we were already famous for writing really long songs? And Iron Maiden answered, absolutely. If Eternity Should Fail, The Red and the Black, Tears of a Clown, The Great Unknown, Empire of the Clouds. And Empire of the Clouds is an absolute achievement. Context of Bruce Dickinson returning to the studio following his cancer treatment. That gives the album another layer of significance. But it's over 90 minutes. And eventually I start thinking, guys, I love you, but I have other things I have to do. That's the problem. There's a fantastic album in here. This is where I start getting really picky, because A Matter of Life and Death is a fantastic album, and I completely understand people putting it in their top 5 even. It's heavy, it's serious, it's progressive, and the production has this huge, almost oppressive quality. For the Greater Good of God is phenomenal. The Longest Day is fantastic. Brighter Than 1,000 Suns. These colors don't run. There's a lot of great material here. But there's another album where the length works against it for me. It's not something I casually throw on. It's an experience. And sometimes I want the full Iron Maiden experience. Sometimes I just want to listen to The Trooper and mow the lawn. At number 10, we're finally going to get some visual aid. That's the insane thing about this catalog. Fear of the Dark is only at number 10, and yet it contains Be Quick or Be Dead, From Here to Eternity, Afraid to Shoot Strangers, Wasting Love, Judas Be My Guide, and the title track, Fear of the Dark. That song alone is practically an institution, but the album as a whole is uneven. There are songs I absolutely love, there are songs I don't care about so much, and that inconsistency keeps it from climbing higher. Still, top 10, that's nothing to complain about. At number 9, here comes one of my controversial picks. No Prayer for the Dying is at number 9. I know. I've seen the comments already. But hear me out. I love the rawness of this album. After the enormous progressive Seventh Son of the Seventh Son stripped things back, it's less polished, less complicated, more direct. And that's exactly what I like about it. Tail Gunner kicks things off. Holy Smoke is fun. Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter is gloriously ridiculous. Public Enemy Number 1 is a fantastic title, even before you hear the song, and the title track is one of the album's strongest moments. Is this Iron Maiden's most sophisticated album? No. But sometimes sophisticated is overrated. Sometimes you just want the guitars turned up and the volume knob broken off. So, No Prayer for the Dying, number 9. At number 8... surprisingly, don't have this on vinyl. This is the comeback. Bruce Dickinson returns, Adrian Smith returns, and Iron Maiden suddenly sounds rejuvenated. It's Brave New World. The Wicker Man announces it immediately. Then, Ghost of the Navigator, Brave New World, Blood Brothers, The Mercenary, Dream of Mirrors. This album doesn't feel like a nostalgia trip. It feels like Iron Maiden proving they still had something to say. And Blood Brothers is one of the most emotionally powerful songs they've ever recorded. This is absolutely one of my favorite albums from the post-90s period. And now, the section of Iron Maiden fans will explode. Number of the Beast is number 7. Before you call the authorities, let me explain. This album is absolutely legendary. Bruce's studio debut, Children of the Damned, The Prisoner, 22 Acacia Avenue, Run to the Hills, Hallowed Be Thy Name. That's an absurd track list. Hallowed Be Thy Name is one of the greatest heavy metal songs ever written, period. And Run to the Hills is one of the most recognizable metal songs on earth. But when I'm ranking my personal favorites, 7 seems simply where this is going to land. It's a victim of Iron Maiden's catalog being absolutely stacked. Another album that for a lot of people is number 1, and I completely understand why. Power Slave, Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Power Slave, Flash of the Blade, Back in the Village, and then the 13-minute monster, Rime of the Ancient Mariner. This album sounds gigantic. The production, the riffs, the harmonized guitars, Bruce's vocals, Nico's drumming, Steve's bass, everything is firing. And the opening combination of Aces High and 2 Minutes to Midnight is practically unfair. But we're now entering my top 5, and things get very personal from here. This album is incredibly consistent, and it marks the arrival of Nico McBrain as a full-time member. Where Eagles Dare kicks the door open. Revelations, Flight of the Icarus, Die With Your Boots On, The Trooper, Still Life, To Tame a Land. It's got everything. Heavy metal songs, melodic songs, progressive songs, catchy songs. And then there's The Trooper. You could play that song to somebody who's never listened to heavy metal before, and there's a decent chance they'd know exactly what it is within 30 seconds. But what makes Peace of Mind special to me is the balance. It's not trying to do too much or try to be too hard. It's just what it is. And this is where the story begins. Before the stadiums, before Eddie went on to be a worldwide icon, before Bruce, before Nico, before the elaborate stage productions, there was this hungry young band from England, and they made Iron Maiden, Prowler, Remember Tomorrow, Running Free, Phantom of the Opera, Transylvania, Sanctuary, Iron Maiden. This album has an energy that the band would never completely reproduce. Paul Di'Anno sounds like he could punch through a brick wall with his voice. Steve Harris is already operating on another level. Dave Murray is incredible. And the songs have this raw street level energy. Phantom of the Opera in particular gives you a preview of how ambitious this band is going to be. It's a band that sounds hungry, and that's why it's number 4. Okay, I'm going to say something that may get me escorted out of the Iron Maiden fan club. I prefer Killers to Number of the Beast. There, it's out. Killers is number 3, and I absolutely love this record. Wrathchild, one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs. Murders in the Rue Morgue, one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs. Genghis Khan, Prodigal Son, Purgatory, Drifter. Killers! It's lean, it's aggressive, it's melodic, and the guitars are incredible. There's something about early Maiden that feels dangerous. It's punk, not manufactured danger, not theatrical danger. This feels like a band that could play a tiny club, blow the roof off, and take your wallet on the way out. Paul Di'Anno is spectacular, and Steve Harris is already showing that he doesn't think like an ordinary heavy metal writer. The riffs are consistently moving, the songs have twists and turns. This album is special. Number 3. Number 2, 1988, and then there were 2. Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. This album is absolutely incredible. Iron Maiden had already conquered the classic heavy metal formula. So what do? They start experimenting. Synthesizers, keyboards, conceptual storytelling, progressive structures, atmosphere, and somehow they made it work. Moonchild, Infinite Dreams, Can I Play With Madness? Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, The Prophecy, and The Clairvoyant. That's an incredible album. And Infinite Dreams is one of those songs that makes me wish I could hear it again for the first time. Then there's The Evil That Men Do. Then The Clairvoyant. And the title track. This is Maiden stretching without losing their identity. That's the magic. But there is one album that edges it out for me. And I'm talking about we're edging here, folks. And number 1 from 1986, Somewhere in Time. And this isn't just my favorite Maiden album. It's one of those albums where everything comes together perfectly for me. The artwork, the futuristic Eddie, the atmosphere, the production, the guitar synthesizers, the melodies, the songwriting, the sequencing, everything. Caught Somewhere in Time is an incredible opening statement. Then comes Wasted Years, probably my favorite Maiden song. And honestly, if you want to understand why this album means so much to me, listen to that song. It's melodic, it's emotional, it's catchy without being cheesy. And Adrian Smith absolutely nailed it. Then you've got Sea of Madness. Heaven Can't Wait! The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner, Stranger in a Strange Land, Deja Vu, and finally, Alexander the Great. That song has become legendary in Maiden fandom. But what I really love about Somewhere in Time is that it feels futuristic without becoming dated. That's incredibly difficult to pull off. This album was released in 1986, yet it doesn't sound like Iron Maiden was trying to imitate what was fashionable in 86. It sounds like Iron Maiden's building its own universe. The melodies are enormous, and underneath is the classic Maiden engine. Steve Harris, Bruce Dickinson, Adrian Smith, Dave Murray, Nico McBrain. Somewhere in Time is the perfect combination of classic Iron Maiden songwriting and experimentation. It's futuristic, it's melodic, it's heavy, it's atmospheric, and it has Eddie standing in front of the neon lights looking like he knows something the rest of us don't. That's my number 1, Somewhere in Time. Virtual 11, The X Factor, Senjutsu, Dance of Death, The Final Frontier, Book of Souls, A Matter of Life and Death, Fear of the Dark, No Prayer for the Dying, Brave New World, The Number of the Beast, Power Slave, Peace of Mind, Iron Maiden, Killers, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, and my number one, Somewhere in Time. 17 Iron Maiden studio albums, one ranking, and probably several hundred reasons why you disagree with me. But that's exactly what I want, because I want to know where you put these albums. Is Somewhere in Time your number one? Do you think I've committed a felony by putting The Number of the Beast at number 7? Do you have Power Slave at number 1? Do you think Senjutsu deserves to be much higher? Or are you one of those brave souls who thinks Virtual 11 is a secret masterpiece? If so, I respect your courage. I don't understand you, but I respect it. Leave your complete 17-1 rankings in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this episode of Anything Unfortunately with Tommy Walter, hit that subscribe button and come back, because we're talking about music, movies, wrestling, horror, comics, whatever the hell we want. I'm Tommy Walter. This is Anything Unfortunately with Tommy Walter. And remember, there are no wrong opinions, except putting Somewhere in Time below number 1. That's just science. And I'll see you next time. Bye.